Hello, I'm Ashwin Machinojula, an associate professor at Duke University and chief scientist, Thomas Labs. My co-author is Daniel Kiefer, professor Penn State, and we are both extremely honored and humbled to receive the SIGMOD 2021 Test of Time Award for our paper titled No Free Lunch in Data Privacy. Let me begin by describing the state of computer science research in privacy circa 2011. Organizations of all types, commercial, academic, and government, wanted privacy-preserving methods to share sensitive data collected from people to enable innovation, research, policymaking, and transparency. But anonymization techniques, some of which we invented, were breaking down. There were highly publicized re-identification attacks, like the AOL or the Netflix attacks. And then there were several new and emerging attacks proposed by researchers. Some of these attacks have since become a reality. For instance, in a landmark 2003 PODS paper, Dinur and Nissim outlined an attack to reconstruct a database just by composing noisy statistics composed computed from the database. This reconstruction attack was shown to work in practice by the US Census Bureau in 2019, when they successfully reconstructed close to 50% of the US population record from publicly released 2010 decennial census statistics. And there have been new attacks discovered since, like the membership inference attacks on machine learning models. In 2006, the invention of differential privacy, or DP for short, was a game changer. It was a mathematically rigorous privacy standard that constrained algorithms to be insensitive to the presence or absence of any one record in the database. And DP was sometimes referred to as a future-proof privacy methodology, as it provides privacy in the face of attacks that have not even been invented. The privacy promise DP provides is the following. What one could learn about an individual Bob based on the output of a differentially private algorithm would be roughly the same as what one would learn in an alternate world where Bob opted out of the computation. The initial applications of differential privacy were in the context of tabular data, where each row corresponds to an individual, and opting out was modeled as removing or changing that record. In the 5 years leading up to 2011, DP was a rage. Research into differential privacy spanned several fields, including theory, databases, programming languages, security, machine learning, and statistics. Differential privacy was being applied to several domains, like administrative records, spatiotemporal data, time series and event data, networks and graph data, and machine learning. Amazing platforms for differentially private computation like Pink and iRabbit were being built, and differential privacy was deployed at the US Census Bureau to protect the home locations of workers and data products on the map. But despite this rapid interest in research and applications for differential privacy, there was still a lack of a deeper understanding of differential privacy in specific and privacy in general. There were lingering questions about how differential privacy should be applied appropriately for different data types that were not necessarily tabular. These questions motivated us to write the No Free Lunch paper. The key insight in this paper, as the name suggests, is a no free lunch impossibility result. It states that it is not possible to simultaneously achieve all three of the following: protecting the privacy of individuals in the data, captured as a gain in an attacker's knowledge, the ability to release useful information from the data, captured as being able to learn something non-trivial from the data, while making no assumptions about what the attacker knows about. This result is not specific to differential privacy. It applies to every privacy approach. A similar result was known from a 2006 paper written by Cynthia Dwork, but we provided an easy to understand non-cryptographic proof. More importantly, in this paper, we dug deeper into what settings caused this impossibility result to occur, and in particular, impact differential privacy. And the key intuition is that the assumptions impact how one models what it means for an individual to opt out of the computation. When data are correlated, simply removing or replacing one's data with an arbitrary record does not constitute opting out of the computation. And this affects several settings where data records are correlated. Take, for instance, genome data. A DP algorithm applied to a genome study that you participated in may provide a quantifiable bound on your privacy risk. However, if the rest of your family also sent their DNA to the study, then your privacy risk is increased because your DNA is causally related to your family's DNA. Similarly, in network data, when you visit a web page, several other events are caused by this act and thus are correlated with it. These include network traffic, routing decisions, DNS requests, and so on. In the paper, we studied social network data closely. In that setting, edges are correlated by the triangle property. A friend of a friend is more likely to be a friend. We simulated the impact of adding or not adding one edge to a social network and found that under several graph evolution models, adding an edge resulted in adding several more edges to the eventual graph. Thus, if an edge opted out of a computation, it would impact several other edges. Another instance where data records are correlated are when data must satisfy certain invariants. These constraints may arise due to exact statistics that are released about the data. For instance, in the US decennial census, the total population of states must be released exactly. Invariants can also occur due to what we database people know as denial constraints. These include foreign keys, functional dependencies, and so on. Such denial constraints would force the deletion or the change of one tuple to further delete or change other tuples in the dataset. In such situations, again, one record cannot opt out independent of other records, and so can increase the privacy risk of such dependent records. The No Free Lunch paper initiated research into privacy in the presence of invariants and influenced which statistics the US Census Bureau released exactly in the 2020 decennial census and what privacy guarantees result from those choices. In terms of impact, the No Free Lunch paper has impacted both research and practice of differential privacy. In terms of the impact on research, our paper was cited over 500 times in the last decade and inspired other no free lunch theorems, for instance, in adversarial machine learning. It led to a rich body of research into privacy frameworks that generalized differential privacy to handle some of the issues raised in the paper, like correlated data and invariants. It also motivated research into privacy preserving techniques for correlated data in specific problem domains, such as correlated network data, data with temporal correlations, linked multi-relational data, spatiotemporal data, and genome data. As differential privacy is starting to get deployed on real-world problems, we are encountering data that are often not tabular and exhibit correlations and/or invariants. Methods of preserving privacy in data publishing and analytics on such data is still an active and open research area that is ripe for innovation. In terms of impact on practice, the No Free Lunch paper anticipated and influenced part of the design of the 2020 decennial disclosure avoidance system at the US Census Bureau. And this is related to the invariants. It also influenced the design of algorithms used by the US Census Bureau's On the Map application to protect business establishments. The paper also influenced portions of a recent call for proposals by the National Center for Science and Engineering Statistics and CSCS. In summary, the No Free Lunch paper identified an important criteria for the suitability of a privacy definition to an application. Can it hide evidence of an individual's participation from an attacker? Developing methods that can hide the participation of an individual in complex data is still an important and challenging problem. Thank you.